That winter storm emergency continues. We've got an update from ERCOT this noon.
A man left bloodied and bandaged after he says a suspect broke into his home and attacked him. How he's describing the ordeal this noon.
Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
ERCOT, the operator of the state's power grid, holding a meeting right now to discuss why it was forced to put millions of Texans in the dark during the height of last week's winter storm.
The death toll statewide from the sub-freezing temperatures is still not known. 5 out-of-state board members of ERCOT announced yesterday that they would resign at the end of today's meeting.
Dylan Collier has been following the fallout from the storm. He joins us now live with more. Dylan.
Good afternoon, Ursula. As the Defenders showed you last week, the board talked about the impending storm for less than 40 seconds during its February 9th meeting. They are talking about it a whole lot longer today. Chairperson Sally Talberg, who lives in Michigan and has been in charge of the board for 15 days, is among that group stepping down. ERCOT operators forced utility companies to shed load in the middle of the night, February 15th, they say, to prevent a catastrophic collapse of the state's power grid. That caused more than 4 million Texans to lose electricity. And while officials described the move as rolling outages, many people went days without power. ERCOT officials had also said before the storm that they were prepared for the bad weather. Talberg this morning said she recognizes the pain being felt by a lot of people in this state right now.
All of our hearts go out to all of you who have had to go without electricity, heat, water, medicine, and food during frigid temperatures and continue to face the tragic consequences, in some cases, the loss of a loved one.
And just in the last few minutes, ERCOT officials showed what kind of outages were caused, what sort of loss of power supply, and it was a vast majority from natural gas and wind energy. Joint hearings before the Texas legislature beginning tomorrow will attempt to figure out why the state's power grid could not hold up to the energy demand during that storm. We will be covering those hearings and continuing our own pursuit for answers. Bill and Collier, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks for staying on the story, Dylan. In the aftermath of last week's severe weather, the city of San Antonio now also launching an emergency resource call center and website, both aimed to help those affected by the recent severe winter weather. Starting today, residents can call 311 and select option 5 or go to 210-207-6000 and they can connect with someone. You can also go online and visit strongertogether.sanantonio.gov. The ERCC will be open from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call takers are going to help residents navigate the disaster assistance programs that are available through FEMA, the Small Business Administration, the SBA, and the newly created Community Pipe Repair Fund administered by SAWS. For more information on these programs and how they may be able to help you, go to KSAT.com.
New at noon, San Antonio police say they've caught the people behind a string of robberies after getting help from San Marcos police. Officers arrested 29-year-old Justin Hernandez and charged him with aggravated robbery. Police say he and another suspect were involved in a series of robberies that happened between November of last year and January of this year. 2 of those robberies happened back on January 21st, one at a store in the 3100 block of Blanco and the second at a Citgo gas station in the 1300 block of Gardena. In both cases, police say 2 suspects entered the stores with guns and demanded cash before taking off. Police say they were able to track down the suspects after San Marcos police arrested them in connection with an aggravated robbery in that area.
Also new this noon, a fire sparked at a Northside apartment complex, forcing people out of their apartments. Fire crews tell us the fire started in an oven and then it spread up a nearby wall. Just before 10 this morning in the 11,600 block of Huebner Road. 3 homes were affected. However, firefighters say the damage was minimal because they were able to put out the flames before the fire got out of control. No one was hurt. Several residents, though, were evacuated. They were later allowed to go back inside. A Northwest Side man says he was acting in self-defense, fighting back against an intruder in his home. Both of them ended up with stab wounds early this morning at an apartment complex on Deschantel near Fredericksburg Road. As Katrina Weber reports, the man says it's left him scarred in more ways than one.
This is where I got stabbed right here. I got stabbed right here, and then I got stabbed right here. Then he bit me right here.
He is bloodied and bandaged after what may have been the fight of his life. David Ramirez says he's still better off than the other guy, a man who walked into his home in the 100 block of Deschantel uninvited and is now in the hospital.
They just wanted to kill me. I don't know why, for what reason.
Ramirez says the intruder came in through his already broken door before 3 this morning, then went on the attack, at first swinging a flashlight at him.
It felt like he was grabbing his knife. I was like, Lord, help me, Jesus, Lord. And then I kicked the knife, and then I was kicking him.
Eventually, Ramirez grabbed his own knives, which he readily showed us later.
Gotta have two.
He told San Antonio police he stabbed the other man repeatedly to save his own life.
I thought I was gonna kill him, or he was gonna kill me.
The intruder was rushed to the hospital. Ramirez turned down the ride from paramedics, choosing to take care of himself. Police are still piecing together what happened here, but at least for now, Ramirez isn't facing any charges. He says the officers let him go with a few words of advice.
They just said, just relax, put it down.
After what he went through, though, he says that's not so easy to do. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Turning now to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Yesterday, Bexar County reporting 270 more people diagnosed with COVID-19. 9 more people have died after contracting the virus. And we're still seeing less people being hospitalized. Currently, 569 COVID-19 patients are hospitalized. 208 people are in the intensive care unit, and 126 patients are on ventilators.
Meanwhile, there's hope that vaccinations will ramp up soon, with drug makers vowing to speed up production.
And a third vaccine could soon be authorized for emergency use.
As ABC's Rena Roy reports, more than 44 million Americans have already received at least one dose of vaccine.
Felt good. A sigh of relief for Betty White in Santa Barbara getting her COVID-19 shot, along with 17% of the U.S. population who's also gotten at least one dose, according to the CDC. And now good news from the FDA, the U.S. one step closer to a third vaccine in the fight against COVID-19, with the agency saying Johnson & Johnson's single-dose vaccine appears to be 85% effective at preventing severe illness, saying it also works against all variants and may even prevent asymptomatic infections.
We're prepared to ship immediately upon emergency use authorization nearly 4 million doses of our vaccine.
It could be authorized for emergency use by the end of this week, and if it is, the company says it's ready to deliver 20 million doses by the end of March. For the other 2 vaccines already circulating across the country, manufacturers now doubling the rate of production.
We currently are on track to deliver the first 100 million doses of the vaccine by the end of March.
We anticipate that will get up to 13 million doses a week by the end of March.
Moderna and Pfizer are telling Congress they're on track to deliver 600 million doses, enough to vaccinate every U.S. adult by July. But with winter storms causing major delays, there's a backlog in many areas and a lot of frustration.
I wasn't too surprised, but it was disappointing.
As for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, an FDA advisory board is expected to meet on Friday. They'll vote on whether to recommend it, and from there it could be a matter of hours until it gets the official green light from the FDA. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
WellMed opened its reservation hotline for the COVID-19 vaccine this morning. Appointments will be made for 30,000 new doses of the Moderna vaccine at 2 of the WellMed clinics. The number to call there on your screen, 833-968-1745. And remember, if you don't get through the first time, keep trying, keep dialing that number. Still to come this half hour, more Judson star Trey Flowers now ready to lend a helping hand to a community south of San Antonio after taking care of those folks in Converse. Larry Mears will have more on that coming up.
A local nonprofit in our community aiming to help people in the community achieve their dreams. How they were able to help one woman after the break. Their goal, to transform lives and help people achieve their dreams. San Antonio nonprofit Restore Education held their second annual policy forum, which took a look at the community needs for education and workforce development. Stephen Cavazos spoke to a San Antonio mother who tells us how Restore Education not only changed her life, but restored her faith in higher learning.
Major corporations, businesses, and educational institutions came together Wednesday morning for Restore Education's virtual event, focusing on ways to reduce poverty and create equal opportunities for underserved populations in the community. The answer?
But really giving people the training and education they need so that they can get and develop through a career path that's going to lead to economic security.
Other panelists shared the same message and believe it's about getting the right tools in people's hands so they can succeed.
We want our San Antonio residents to be prepared to take on those jobs.
Restore Education aims to transform at-risk youth and adults into successful college and career-ready students who can achieve the future they deserve. 85% of their students are low or no income, and 90% are first-generation college students. We met Priscilla Ibarra, who dropped out of high school when she became pregnant with her first child 20 years ago. Ibarra is now a mother of 3, and she says her dreams were put on hold so she could help her children achieve theirs. She says she's worked odd-end jobs just to get by.
That's all I could get. I could never go any further than that.
But as her children got older, she began to realize there was more she could do for her life. Ibarra learned about Restore Education when she began to have trouble finding a job in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. And with the support of her kids, she was ready to finish what she started.
I knew that it was my time to come back.
She received her GED last year, but she's not stopping there. She returned to Restore Education this month to get her phlebotomy license.
You're never too old to learn. You know, you're never too old to go back to school. You know, it's just anybody can do it.
Restore Education has partnered with the city for workforce development programs, which are partially funded through the CARES Act. Although thousands have already applied, there are still slots available. You can visit our website at KSAT.com for more information. Stephen Cavazos, KSAT 12 News.
Outside with live cam, warm day. I think Katie Blake talked Justin into letting her come in and do weather because it was so warm today, since she had to do it all last week when it was so cold. She says, give me one of those warm days.
Yeah, pretty out there, even though a little humid today.
Yes, the humidity has started to creep back in late yesterday evening, and today you probably have noticed it a lot more. It did lead to some patchy fog this morning, and while I expect a lot of us to jump into the 70s today, it is going to be much cooler tomorrow. We've actually got a front moving through today, and we'll talk all about that coming up. But first, checking on the aquifer, up a little bit more than 1 foot in the past 24 hours, and a somewhat busy pollen count for allergens today, including mold and mountain cedar, but thankfully everything is nice and low. More on that front moving through coming up next.
Too cute. Too cute.
They're all good, aren't they?
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Hang on to that thing. We're hanging on to some warm temperatures, though, as long as we can.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot cooler tomorrow. Still nothing compared to last week, but we're not going to be in the 70s tomorrow. So we do have some changes ahead. But yeah, it's been so nice the past couple of days, finding really any excuse to spend some time outside. But changes are ahead today. Temperatures climbing into the 70s. It's been cloudy so far. I do expect we'll squeeze out a little bit of sun this afternoon. But by tomorrow, behind a cold front, we're going to see our temperatures fall into the mid to upper 50s with a chance of some rain tomorrow. And we've actually got rain chances in the forecast kicking in tomorrow and hanging around all the way until early next week. So those beautiful, bright, sunny days, they're going to go away for a little while, but we still do need some rain, so it's not all bad news. Right now, right around 70 across Bexar County with the southwest wind in place. And like I mentioned, it's been pretty cloudy so far today, and we're still holding on to a lot of clouds in and around San Antonio and Bexar County. Elsewhere, though, that cloud deck is really starting to erode. We're seeing some nice clearing up in the hill country, even down across portions of the coastal bend. But look what's happening. Look what's coming in from the north, from Fredericksburg and Austin. We've got a front here that will be moving through this afternoon. I think it's somewhere between New Braunfels and Austin. And a good way we can tell is by looking at wind direction. So behind this frontal boundary, winds will become northerly. And we do have a northerly component to our wind from Fredericksburg over to Rock Springs. Calm winds in Kerrville right now. But you'll notice from New Braunfels down to San Antonio over to Hondo, our winds are still southerly. So that frontal boundary is likely just north of New Braunfels, draped through Kerrville, but it does look like it's past Rock Springs. And really, wind direction is the best way to tell where that front is, because there's not a huge temperature difference behind the front. Still mid-70s in Fredericksburg, 72 in New Braunfels, just shy of 70 here in San Antonio with a little bit more cloud cover. We can also kind of tell where the front is based on dew points. Dew points are starting to fall behind the front into the 50s from Fredericksburg over to Rock Springs. The rest of us still have dew point temperatures in the 60s. Now, that's not a huge difference, but behind that front, there is some drier air. So that's what makes me think that the front is just south of Fredericksburg at this hour. So as we head into the afternoon, I expect the cloud deck that's been around this morning will continue to kind of shrink in on itself. And we should be able to see some sun this afternoon as that frontal boundary drops down to the south. Now, models have this front moving in later. It's a little bit ahead of schedule. So I think we could even see a couple of showers along the front as early as late this afternoon, early this evening, primarily east and southeast of San Antonio. Then overnight through early tomorrow morning, we're going to have some moisture move in from the southwest, and that's going to bring the clouds back. So we'll be cloudy by tomorrow morning with a couple of sprinkles possible, and it'll be cloudy and cool, especially in comparison to today as we head into Thursday. Temperatures limited to the 50s on Thursday. But look what happens as we get into Thursday night and Friday morning, a nice scattering of some rain out there. So as we have some disturbances move on through, that will help to kick in our rain chances. That first disturbance is going to move through late Thursday into Friday. That's where we'll see our rain chances kick off. As we get into the weekend, our weather pattern stays a little bit unsettled. Southwest flow aloft is just going to keep these little weak disturbances in place. That'll keep low end chances of rain in the forecast each day through the weekend. It won't be a washout, but there could be a little something on radar each day this weekend. By the end of the weekend, early next week, slightly stronger disturbance, yet another one moving through late Sunday into Monday. So that's why we're keeping rain chances in the forecast for several days beginning tomorrow as our weather pattern just remains a bit unsettled. Looks like our best chances to cash in here, or the highest coverage of rain on radar, will be tomorrow, especially later in the day, and then on Monday with the arrival of another frontal boundary. So things will be changing a little bit here, especially by tomorrow, but we do need the rain, so not all bad news, as I mentioned. The rest of the day today, I expect temperatures to climb into the mid to upper 70s as we see some sun this afternoon, and then skies will fill back in with clouds late tonight through early tomorrow morning, and overall tomorrow is going to be much cooler than today. So I know we were able to put the jackets away for a few days, and you certainly won't need a heavy coat or anything like that, but a jacket would be a good idea to keep handy tomorrow. Guys.
Definitely at least sweater weather. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I almost forget we're in the middle of an NBA season.
Yeah, I mean, the Spurs haven't played since Valentine's Day. Yeah, due to COVID-19. So they are back in action tonight. They're going to be down 6 players, but we just found out moments ago that LaMarcus Aldridge is listed as available tonight. And Judson great Trey Flowers is still doing his part today. He's passing out more water. We got the details coming up. After a 9-day break due to COVID-19, the Spurs will conclude the rodeo road trip tonight at the OKC Thunder, and they'll do so with barely the 8 players required to suit up for a game. That's because 5 are still in the NBA's health and safety protocol after as many as 4 Spurs tested positive for the coronavirus following their 122-110 victory versus the Hornets Valentine's Day. And those players have been identified as Rudy Gay, Derek White, Devin Vassell, Quindary Weatherspoon, and Keldon Johnson. And the Spurs are also without DeMar DeRozan, who's back in California with his family after his father passed away. Now, the good news, it looks like LaMarcus Aldridge is good to go. In fact, he is after missing the last 6 games with a sore right hip.
Good to get back on the court the last week. Has been kind of tough, out of the ordinary, obviously. We've been hit with some adversity, some challenges, not only off the court, but not only on the court, but off the court as well. So it has been challenging. But basketball-wise, for us to be able to get on the court, obviously feels good. It did feel like we were away a lot longer than than 7-8 days. It almost seemed like an off season there. But like I said, it feels good to be on the court and prepare for the next 5 games, a very important 5 games for us coming up before the break. Another break, I should say.
Spurs injury report is a long one. DeMar is out for personal reasons, while Rudy Gay, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Quindary Weatherspoon, and Derek White are all listed as out due to health and safety protocols. And LaMarcus is now listed as available. The Spurs updating that moments ago with right hip flexor soreness. So here is your matchup. Spurs at the Thunder tonight, 7 p.m. at the Chesapeake Energy Arena. Meantime, Spurs head coach Greg Popovich met with the media for the first time on Monday since their last 4 games were postponed due to the COVID-19 health and safety protocols. It was the first time the Spurs have been back on the court just to work out during the pandemic pause. So how did the Spurs keep all this in perspective given the challenges they're facing now?
Considering our positions in this world, we're very, very well off. And so complaining or feeling sorry for oneself, that's not in the picture. It's inappropriate, not deserved. Only thank yous for what we all have. So, at this time, you just think about all the people that have gone through hell.
And Judson alum and Seattle Seahawk Trey Flowers is continuing to help out our area. Today he's holding a water distribution in Karnes City at 5:30 p.m. A semi-truck will deliver a load of water that will supply the entire population of Karnes City, per a tweet from Janetti Garcia of the SA Business Journal. So if you live in Karnes City, here's that info, 5:30 p.m. today at Karnes City Park, a drive-through water distribution. Now, Trey's family is from Karnes City, so he's stepping up to help his family and the Karnes City community.
With all these pros that we now have coming from San Antonio, we're starting to feel like a Dallas or Houston in the sense that all these guys come back and help the community. I mean, 30 years ago, we only had 1 or 2. Now we got a lot of guys coming back to help out.
They do, and they're more than happy to help out as well.
It's awesome.
So great.
Great stuff. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. New today at 5, a warning about dietary supplements. A lot of people buy them online to improve health and wellness, but they are not regulated like medications are, and may even contain hidden drugs. What you should watch out for before you click buy. That's today at 5 after Entertainment Tonight.
Lawmakers today continuing to grill the security officers who were responsible for their safety on January 6th.
During the first public hearing, law enforcement officers struggled to explain why they were caught off guard and often pointed fingers at each other. ABC's Mary Alice Parks has more for it.
Former officials in charge of securing the Capitol telling senators white supremacists and extremist groups played a large role in the siege on January 6th. That the attack seemed premeditated, but they did not see it coming.
A clear lack of accurate and complete intelligence across several federal agencies contributed to this event, and not poor planning by the United States Capitol Police.
Former Chief of Capitol Police Steve Sun, who resigned after the riot, and other witnesses claiming they never saw an FBI bulletin warning that right-wing extremists were preparing to wage, quote, a war in Washington.
I would certainly think that something as violent as an insurrection in the Capitol would warrant, a phone call or something.
Lawmakers who live and work in a city that is often on high alert still clearly skeptical, saying there were warnings in news reports and other intelligence briefings.
Some pretty foreboding details that I would have thought would have resulted in planning and more preparation.
Today's hearings continue in the House. The architect of the Capitol, J. Brett Blant, planning to testify he was never contacted about deploying the National Guard before January 6th.
I was not asked specifically for those for additional resources.
Blanton sits on the 4-person Capitol Police Board, which some lawmakers now say needs major reform. The House hearing will focus on possible long-term security changes to the complex. Today, Capitol Hill still a fortress of razor wire and armed troops. Congress has already approved $30 million to extend additional fencing around the Capitol through the end of March. But the task ahead is hard. How to keep the area safe, but not on total lockdown, still open to the public. Mary Alice Parks, ABC News, Washington.
The Federal Aviation Administration ordering airlines to ground their Boeing 777 jetliners after the engine of a plane blew apart after taking off from Denver this past weekend. The FAA says this is until all the Boeing 777s can be inspected for stress cracks. They say that operators must inspect the fan blades at the front of each engine. The order is for airplanes with certain Pratt & Whitney engines, which are used on Boeing 777s.
Outside with Live Cam. Enjoy the warmth today in the dry. I mean, it's humid, but, you know, we got some good rain. We got all that snow last week. That doesn't help much because you don't get a whole lot of water out of that, do you?
Yeah, when that snow melts down, it does turn to water, and that helps our ground. But you don't get as much water out of it as maybe the snow makes it appear. So we could use a little bit more rain. I know it feels like we just caught our breath after last week. And the rain chances we have that will be working in beginning tomorrow. There'll be a daily chance of rain, but I don't expect it to be too disruptive. We're not concerned about any severe weather. There could be some rumbles of thunder, but we're not concerned about any severe weather. And really, potential rainfall accumulations through the weekend aren't that high, but we should get a little light rain in here to help us out just a bit. Temperatures now on the warm side once again. A few spots, especially along 90 from San Antonio out to Uvalde, are still in the upper 60s right now, but that's because we've still got some lingering clouds there. As we get past lunchtime and see some sun, everyone should be able to climb into the 70s. We did have some patchy fog this morning. All of that has cleared up, thanks in part to a front that has worked through central Texas and the hill country earlier this morning. As I loop this satellite image through, you can kind of pick up the front right here as it moves in from the north. So again, still stuck under some clouds here in San Antonio, but once that front scoots through late this afternoon, we should be able to get some sunshine going. We'll go upper 70s here in San Antonio and in the hill country. Points well down to the south that are already seeing some sun at this hour could certainly jump into the low to mid 80s, but a lot of us are looking at much cooler conditions tomorrow. So if you're already prepping for Thursday, expect much cooler weather. Our temperatures will be in the 50s tomorrow. Cloudy skies throughout the day with a better chance of some rain kicking in later in the day, especially tomorrow night into early Friday. We'll talk more about those rain chances and get you ready for this weather change that settles in tonight coming up in just a bit. Guys.
Thank you, Katie. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys back at negotiations as Dak continues to recover from that leg injury that ended his season last year. Larry Ramirez with more on those negotiations coming up.
If you or a loved one is feeling isolated, there are some simple things that you can do to help each other out. How a new study says brief phone calls could really make a difference.
Have we got deals for you? Welcome to KSATdeals.com. This item is a game changer for everyone working at home. You can now enjoy your beverages warm from the first sip to the very last drop with this mug warmer. It's the electric smart mug warmer. The lightweight, sleek cup warmer uses smart technology to keep your beverage at the temperature you choose. It has 18-watt heating element and keeps your beverage between 104 and 140 degrees at the temperature you choose. Now it's safe, automatically turns off after 1 minute if it senses there is no weight on there. Spills will not short out the water-resistant design. Comes in black or white. Manufacturer's 30-day warranty. And it can also be used for oatmeal, soups, beverages, and more. Now the retail price is $59. The KSAT deals price $22.99. That's a 61% discount. You can find this deal and many others on KSATdeals.com.
February is American Heart Health Month, and according to a new survey, many Americans have been putting their heart health on the back burner due to the fear of contracting COVID-19. The results show that 1 in 3 people with heart disease have actually stopped taking their heart-related medications, and 65% have put off checkups or their screenings due to the fears of getting the virus.
This is not a good idea because the blood pressure, cholesterol can go up, and if you ever contact COVID, this kind of situations can make the outcomes even worse rather than better. So filling medications, taking medications regularly, having proper lab work to check if the medications are working or not, all these are very crucial steps.
Survey participants say that they've gained weight during the pandemic as well, with a quarter of us gaining more than 20 pounds. Results, though, are not all bad. About 30% say that they're exercising more and eating a healthier diet.
A new study shows talking to an empathetic listener for 10 minutes a few times a week lowers feelings of loneliness by 20%. The study shows an even bigger decrease for anxiety and depression, 30%. A researcher at the University of Texas in Austin led the study using more than 200 Meals on Wheels clients in Central Texas. The study was published in the journal JAMA Psychiatry.
Looking outside with live cam, it's looking murky out there, but nice and warm. We'll take this.
Yes, it's been so nice to have this thaw out over the past 5 days.
Our bones are still cold.
I know. So it's been, I have just taken every opportunity the past couple of days to spend any amount of time outside. It has felt great. We'll still be warm this afternoon, but tomorrow a much cooler day, and we'll talk details coming up. But first, checking on the aquifer, up a little bit more than 1 foot in the past 24 hours, and a busy pollen count for allergens today. Thankfully, everything, including mold and what's left of mountain cedar, can't be much at this point, is low. We'll take a look at a temperature drop coming tonight and tomorrow, coming up next. Welcome back. Well, we'll start off with a look outside. We've seen so much sun the past few days that the clouds working back in, you may kind of go, oh, I miss the sun. Well, I do expect that we'll see some sun this afternoon, and that'll set us up for another warm day with temperatures jumping back into the 70s. But the clouds will build back in tonight, and this sets us up for a cloudy and much cooler day tomorrow. So go ahead and take today to find your jacket because you will need it by tomorrow. Rain chances kick in tomorrow as well, and they're actually going to linger through the weekend into early next week. Not looking at a washout each day, but essentially radar each day for the next several days could show some rain out there, and that's good news because we definitely do need more rain. Sustained winds now. They are light across the area with the exception of Victoria. But what I want you to take note of here is the wind direction. We've got a northerly wind from Rock Springs to Kerrville up to Fredericksburg, New Braunfels down to San Antonio over to Hondo. Winds are southerly. So that means we've got a frontal boundary here draped just north of San Antonio and likely just north of New Braunfels. So we can tell where that front is based on wind direction. And thankfully we have that because you couldn't really tell where it is based on temperature. So there is some cooler air behind this front, but it's lagging up closer to San Angelo and the Concho Valley. It will filter in tonight, and by tomorrow morning it will be much cooler out there. So this won't be one of those fronts that we'll see our temperatures plummet right away. And in fact, this afternoon, with some sunshine, we should see, again, our temperatures jump into the mid to upper 70s for a lot of us. So this front will continue to make slow southward progress this afternoon into this evening. It'll be late this evening and tonight that clouds will fill back in. We could have a couple of light showers and sprinkles well to the south early tomorrow. And then during the day tomorrow, some scattered showers will start to develop, I think mainly later in the day Thursday, heading into Thursday night and then Friday. So it's that cooler air that's going to seep in tonight. We'll have the clouds move in over top of that tonight as well. And so with the clouds hanging around all day tomorrow, some light rain moving in, that's going to keep us quite cool on Thursday. We'll see our temperatures limited to the 50s, slow warm up into the weekend, but we'll keep rain chances around. So that front coming in tonight, or this afternoon, excuse me, will lend to a scattering of some rain as we get into Thursday. This weekend, as our weather pattern stays just a little unsettled, we'll have some little disturbances moving through, so that'll lend itself to some low chances of rain each day. As we get into late Sunday, early next week on Monday, another frontal boundary, a stronger disturbance will bring in another scattering of some rain, and then it looks like after that, rain chances will wrap up. Now, again, seeing rain chances every day, you may think, oh, it's going to rain at my house all day, every day. Not the case. Each day is definitely not going to be a washout, and in fact, all the way through the weekend and Monday, a lot of us are looking at maybe around a 1/4 inch of rain. So this isn't going to be a drought buster, but it will be nice to have a little bit of rain on radar each day as we head into the weekend. So the rest of your Wednesday, again, we'll see temperatures climb into the mid to upper 70s. So a warm day, but it's tonight that cooler air seeps in. By tomorrow morning, we're in the low 50s, only warming into the upper 50s tomorrow afternoon with some scattered rain, especially second half of the day. Staying cool through the weekend. We'll get our highs back in the 70s by the weekend, but those low and rain chances hang around all the way through early next week. We'll be right back.
much-anticipated break. The Spurs are back in action tonight when they face the OKC Thunder, the final game on the rodeo road trip. They last played Valentine's Day, beating the Hornets 122-110. Their next 4 games were postponed due to COVID-19 within the Spurs. Coach Pop did his best to keep the team upbeat while they were all quarantined in Charlotte.
When you have great coaches, and you have a coach like Coach Pop who, day in and day out, putting letters under our hotel rooms, just being optimistic and learning about what else is going on in the world. We're just trying to be prepared mentally, and just stay locked in. What
were some of the notes you got from him?
Just pretty much if there was 100 people in the world, 2 people would be in Asia, and then, just like, out of the box kind of things, which I appreciate, and I'm pretty sure all the other players appreciate as well. When you're stuck in that hotel and you pretty much did everything you could possibly do in a hotel room, you're trying to find ways to keep the days from going any longer.
Thunder will host the Spurs tonight at 7, and LaMarcus is now available to play.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Dallas Cowboys and representatives of quarterback Dak Prescott are now allowed to negotiate a new long-term contract. There are 2 deadlines, though, they're facing for the franchise tag deadline, March the 9th and July 15th, to try to reach an agreement before having to use the franchise tag for the 2nd straight season. Last year, the Cowboys paid Dak just over $31 million. This year, the tag will be over $37 million if they can't reach an agreement. Tiger Woods is recovering from surgery after he was involved in a single-car accident early yesterday morning in California. He has undergone a long surgical procedure on his lower right leg and ankle after he suffered significant injuries to his right lower extremity that were treated during emergency surgery at Harbor UCLA Medical Center, and it certainly sounds like Tiger is lucky to be alive.
Tiger Woods was alert and oriented, and he was trying to self-extricate, but he was unable. So my firefighters used a Halligan tube to help pry the seats and the metal from around his legs. They also used an axe to break out the windshield. At the same time, the firefighters and paramedics were keeping ceasefire precautions for potential neck and back injuries. They were able to get him on a backboard, splint his legs, and transport him to a trauma center.
The Tiger Woods Foundation tweeted they thank everyone for the overwhelming support and messages during this tough time, while also explaining what doctors had to do to him. Larry Norman has been named the new head football coach and boys coordinator at Brackenridge High School. Norman leaves Stevens High School, where he served as the Falcons special teams coordinator. Norman replaces the great Willie Hall, who retired after last season. And in a statement, Coach said he has big shoes to fill.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But that's a nice jump.
Absolutely.
Good for him.
Yes.
Congratulations. All right, Larry, thank you much.
All right. We'll be right back with Fiona all by her lonesome.
I was going to say, we've got big plates to fill on this show because this is one of the things that we do best. Look at all this amazing food. And Mike is hosting from home today. Does it make you hangry?
Yes, it makes me very jealous that I'm not down there with you, but it's all about Ghost Kitchen. And I guess the simple way to explain this is some of your favorite foods from your favorite restaurants, it can all be delivered to your home. So it's the best of all these worlds, except it's not right there in front of me. We're going to explain that.
All out of one kitchen. We'll explain that concept coming up. And Mike, get your running shoes on. This is your warning. I've already let Jen know I've got a scavenger hunt game in store for both of you. So I'm going to send you guys to find stuff around your house. So the audience at home.
I got a coaster.
No. I'm not gonna make it that easy. I want to see you run. The audience at home might learn something new about you. What is that?
It's little lovebird thingies. I don't know. It's sitting on the coffee table here.
Okay, yeah, no. Oh, no, that won't be it either.
Hey, our outside plants and everything took a beating last week. So what can you do to help maybe plant some new stuff? Perhaps there's something to salvage. Jen is going to get some tips from all the garden pros.
And how you can have a wild time on spring break and see these clouded leopards.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing? Are you eating?
National Tortilla Day. Tortilla Chip Day.
Tortilla Chip. Tortilla Chip Day. Okay, so we want to know, what do you like to dip it in? Salsa, guacamole, or queso?
Yes.
Yes to all. The trifecta. All the above. All right? We'll weigh in at SA Live KSAT on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll see which one wins. All that and more when SA Live continues. See, don't you wish you were here?